So this is something that actually peeved me off rather recently with watching some videos that were... Got you, bitch! With releasing videos that were basically talking about certain movies or TV shows, or books even, that should have had higher ratings because they are too sensitive for the younger viewers. And basically, people, especially adults, have a really, really bad tendency, especially like 40-plus adults, have a really bad tendency of underestimating what people in general, but especially minors, can handle when it comes to media. Like, blaringly. Most of the time, I find ratings are too high on things. Like, an example would be Lovely Bones. This is one was mentioned. Lovely Bones was rated for teenagers, right? But this person was saying that no, it should have been rated R because of the dark themes. When Lovely Bones is based off of a teen book, meant for teenagers. Meant for teenagers. It's supposed to be for them. It's perfectly suitable for them. And you'll see this a lot with children's media, like, you'll be having people being like, no child should ever watch horror movies. Bitch, I watched Poltergeist when I was fucking 10. Did not scare me. It wasn't even good, it was kind of funny more so than anything else. People have a bad tendency of overestimating, well, I guess, yeah, over, under, whatever. And they'll think that, oh no, their sensitive, innocent, sweet little minds can't handle this. Their brains aren't mature enough because they are a minor and under this particular number that we have assigned for being the adult age, 18. And it's like, no. That's not how people work. Different people can handle different things at different ages differently. What's totally fine and normal for one, say, 10-year-old might be like traumatizing to a 19-year-old. It's possible, it happens. And the reverse, of course, is also true. So universally saying, no, kids can't watch anything with swearing in it. They're innocent little brains. They can't handle sex scenes. Is fucking weird. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, honestly. Like, children can handle this shit. I'm not saying it should be, like, easily available and just kind of open to them, but let swearing in books. I guarantee you your elementary students are swearing. They swear. I know they do. Anyone with common sense knows they do. And they can handle a lot more in media, especially horror movies. Horror movies are the thing that gets kind of, like, finger-wagged at the most besides swearing and sex. Those are the three things that get finger-waved at the most. Teenagers can definitely handle all three, no fucking problem. Just period. No fucking problem, they can handle that shit unless they're literally the most immature teenager ever. Children, I can kind of understand not wanting to see them have sex scenes, because that can affect the development of someone who has not yet gone through puberty. As for the swearing, your kid's swearing anyway. Unless they're like kindergarten level or something, they're swearing anyway. You shouldn't care. It shouldn't bother you. They're probably sneaking off to watch South Park behind your back anyway. That's what we all did. And horror movies, honestly, once they pass like the age of 7 or so, you shouldn't have a problem with them seeing horror movies anymore. Don't like hand feed them to them, but they can handle that shit. And you will know if they can't, because they will start acting up and acting out. And this sort of babying of what teenagers especially can handle, it doesn't help them. It feeds into the whole adults treat me like I'm a baby mindset that results in teens resenting older people. Which makes sense because you're treating them like they can't handle stuff that they know full well they can, and anyone with common sense knows full well they can handle. And sure, you might say, oh, they're trying to be tough, they're trying to be a badass to prove that they can handle it. If they couldn't handle it, it would be obvious. It just would be. Something freaking someone out or making someone slightly unsettled or uncomfortable is not them not being able to handle it. And what people can handle is totally different for different people. Like, when I was like 7, Saw was my shit. Loved that stuff. But you give me a documentary on bedbugs, fuck no, I'm out. Different things bother different people, regardless of age. And kids can handle the gory shit, the violent shit. I mean, best video games when I was a little tot was Grand Theft Auto and, like, the Saw video games and shit. The gory, violent crap. That's the way it is for most younger people. They like that shit, and they can generally handle that shit. If anything, I find elderly minds are far more tender and weak and mild than younger people's brains are. As far as I'm concerned, the older people are the ones who are more easily bothered and offended than the younger folk are. They're the ones that shouldn't be able to go to restricted videos. And by older folk, I mean like over 60. I don't mean like 20-year-olds. And probably the area where I see this is like the starkest is when you compare books to other forms of media. Because books, if you look at the shit that's in books, like you actually look at it, like, sex scene here, sex scene there, graphic sex scene there, pedophilia, underage sex, sex without consent, swearing, graphic violence, graphic nudity. All of that is in books. All over the fucking place. I mean, even little children's books, death, 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 baby making, death, 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 death. You will find that a fair amount in children's books if you actually look and pay attention. But people pay less attention to books because it's a hell of a lot harder to consume books, so people don't blabber about it because it's like, but I don't want to have to put in the effort to actually read the books to see if there's anything questionable in said books. Whereas movies, you can just watch a snippet and go, oh my god, that's horrible. And video games, you can go, oh my god, there's a guy with a gun on the cover, oh my god. That must be horrible, that must be violent and inherent, I must not allow my child to do that. And sure, there's the argument to be argued, I guess, that a book, you can only picture what you can picture in your mindsies. But Google exists. Kids will Google stuff. That's the way it works nowadays. And sure, movies, it gives you full frontal what is happening. Visually. You can see it. And it's definitely a lot easier to skip over and ignore in a book than it is in a movie. But, or a video game. In a video game, you could say it's different because they're interacting with the violence, which, sort of, I guess, but honestly, you get more into a book than you do into a movie or a video game. Movie, you're kind of a bystander looking on. Video game, you're just kind of having your kicks fiddling with the controller. Video game, you're the character. You are the character. You're there. Unless you suck at reading. Or it's just a really fucking crappy book. And that's kind of one of the funny areas when it comes to actually making adaptations with books to movies, is the movie almost always gets a harsher rating than what the book got. And it's hilarious. It's just like, when the Warriors movie comes out, I guarantee you they're probably going to make it as child-friendly as possible, but honestly, the Warriors movie should look like Watership Down. That would be accurate to the books. Watership Down. That'd be accurate. Would never fly, but that would be accurate. And you guarantee you'd have parents being like, this book needs to be banned. We didn't realize it before because we never bothered to read it because books are hard. But it should be banned. And it even goes with toys. People underestimate children. Like, any toy that's even, like, possibly dangerous, people freak out about. And honestly, like, you've got the Tide Pod shit. That should show that teenagers are more likely to swallow stupid shit than kids are, than little kids are. But this is something that just, like, low-key infuriates me. Underestimating what teenagers can handle is just, don't like it. Because it feeds into the babying shit, and that kind of infuriates me a little bit. And, like, ultimately, when it comes to parents, like, trying to restrict their kids from seeing things that they don't think their kid will be able to handle, if your kid wants to see it, your kid's gonna see it. I mean, if it's a movie, sure, you stop them from buying the DVD or going to the movie theaters. You're gonna stop them from going on to, like, ShockShare or some shit there, or somewhere else. VidMe, I don't know. It's probably on there somewhere. They'll find it. They'll just have to look it up on Google. Maybe second page search, if it's really that difficult to find. They'll find it. Same with music. You don't want them listening to music. Go to YouTube. It's there. They'll download it. No problem. You can't stop kids from getting hold of this media regardless of what kind of limitations or restrictions you put on it. Kids will get their hands on shit. And ultimately, they're kind of the better deciders for what they can handle than you are. Whether you're a parent or some guy on a board going, nope, not that one. That one's too sexy. R rating. Bye-bye. Too much sexy. So, yeah. Don't underestimate what children can handle. Teenagers especially. As far as I'm concerned, most teenagers can handle the same sort of media as an adult can. This is obviously within reason. You have some teenagers who are a little bit more touchy than others, but in children, they can handle more than what people give them credit for.